Well, my name is Tammy. I am 29 years old. I have been married to William, who is 31 years old. We have been married for the past 2 years. We had our own little life that we had created for ourselves until one day, I got up and saw that William had emptied the entire house and left. I was devastated and confused, not understanding why he would suddenly leave without any explanation. Our once happy and stable life had turned into a whirlwind of uncertainty and heartbreak. I desperately searched for answers, hoping to find some closure and understanding amidst the chaos. William and I met at work 3 years ago. I was a new intern at the company William was a manager at. Working under William made us spend time together, which led to a lot of physical attraction towards each other. He was handsome, and there was no doubt about it. I could see the way he looked at me and the impact I had on him. As days progressed, we were paired together to work on a lot of projects, which helped us get to know each other on a personal level. After dating for 8 months, we decided to get married and start our life together. William received a better offer from a rival company, which paid him double of what he was earning currently. He took the opportunity, and I continued working at the same place as I was up for a promotion soon. Everything was so perfect, and things were falling into place. We decided to move into a bigger house as we knew that we would be able to afford it. We were excited about the new chapter in our lives and the prospect of having more space for our future family. However, the sudden change in our financial situation brought some challenges, as we had to adjust to a higher cost of living. Nonetheless, we remained optimistic and determined to make it work, knowing that our decision was based on the belief that better opportunities awaited us. After 2 months of moving into our new house, I was promoted to a new role. The role was very different from what I was previously doing. There was a lot to learn and required a lot of time to invest in it. There was a lot of pressure, which led to me becoming a stress drinker. I would drink often to relieve my stress after coming home. This soon turned into me getting addicted to drinking. William did raise concerns about it, but I dismissed it, stating that I had it under control, which was so not true. As time went on, my addiction to drinking started to affect not only my physical health, but also my relationships and overall well-being. It became clear that I needed to seek help and address the underlying issues causing me to rely on alcohol as a coping mechanism. Accepting William's concerns and acknowledging the severity of my addiction was a crucial step towards recovery. I took a break from work and cured my alcohol addiction. During my break from work, I enrolled in a rehabilitation program that provided me with the necessary tools and support to overcome my addiction. Through therapy and counseling, I was able to identify the root causes of my reliance on alcohol and develop healthier coping mechanisms. It was a challenging journey, but with the help of professionals and the support of loved ones, I was able to successfully overcome my addiction and regain control of my life. William proposed to me 1 year short in our dating period. I said yes immediately, and we both got married. I could tell that even after seeing my worst phase, William did not run away and stayed by my side. I knew he was a keeper for life. We were now officially married and were having the best time of our life. However, we knew that the wedding and my rehab treatment had cost a dent in our financial progress. We both discussed and agreed that I would start working again. I spoke to my company, who were happy to offer me the same post. I rejoined work after a 6-month break. I had been moved to a new project that was being led by Dave. I had heard about this guy from William, who was not a very big fan of his. William had worked with him and warned me that he was a horrible boss to have, cunning and manipulative. He asked me to be careful around him. Despite William's negative opinion, I decided to keep an open mind and form my own judgment about Dave. I believe that everyone deserves a fair chance, and perhaps William's experience was different from what mine would be. It was the first day when we were introduced to our new project manager. He was in his mid-40s but was very fit and looked too good for his age. It was nice to see him strategize and come up with ideas on how to go about finishing the project on time. I was pretty impressed by his knowledge and preparation right from day one when he walked in. I could see all the other women in the team drool over him. As the days went by, it became clear that Dave's attractiveness was not just physical. He possessed a charismatic personality that drew people towards him. It was evident in the way he effortlessly motivated the team and created a positive work environment. Despite the initial distractions, I soon realized that his presence was a valuable asset to our project. Dave's ability to motivate the team and create a positive work environment played a crucial role in keeping everyone focused and productive. His charismatic personality not only brought people together, but also helped in resolving conflicts and maintaining a harmonious atmosphere. With his valuable contributions, we would be able to effectively manage our time and complete the project on schedule. Things were getting crazy at work. I had to spend extra hours after my regular shift to compensate for one of the co-workers who decided to take a maternity leave right in the middle of a crisis. I hardly got a chance to meet William and sit with him for a decent conversation. William commented sarcastically that at least I was not drowning myself in alcohol, so he was happy to see me busy with work. I chuckled at William's sarcastic comment and assured him that I was determined to handle the workload professionally. Despite the chaos, I expressed my disappointment about not being able to spend quality time with him, but promised to make it up once things settled down at the office. William told me that as long as I was aware of this, he was happy to see me busy. I kissed and said that I always cared and hoped to spend time with him, which was very true. William smiled and replied, "I know you are dedicated to your job, and I appreciate that. We'll have plenty of time together once things calm down." I felt reassured by his understanding and couldn't wait for the day when we could finally enjoy some uninterrupted quality time together. I thanked him for his support and understanding and assured him that his encouragement meant a lot to me. I promised to prioritize our time together once the work situation improved and expressed my gratitude for his patience during this busy period. I also mentioned that I had been feeling a bit overwhelmed lately and appreciated his patience and understanding. William nodded sympathetically and said, "I understand how important your work is to you, but remember to take care of yourself too. We'll make sure to plan something special once everything settles down." His words made me feel even more grateful for his support and made me look forward to the future even more. It had been such a busy month. I was the only one that was taking up enough responsibilities for completing the project. There were times when Dave would connect with me offline even after work to make sure we were on track so that we finished the project on time. This had led to me bringing work home and being on my phone a lot, even after coming back home, with a load of messages and calls being exchanged between Dave and I at odd hours of the night. I would get up in the middle of the night and start working if I was unable to sleep. Dave told me that I could call him any time of the day or night if I was stuck so that we could work together and complete the assignment. William complained a few times about my odd working hours, even after coming home, but I told him that it was just a phase that would end once the project was completed. He did not like my abrupt calls and messages in the middle of the night to Dave. I told him that it was all work-related, and I had no choice but to keep him aware of the progress I was making. I knew that once everything was settled, I would be giving my entire time and attention to William. I assured William that once the project was completed, I would prioritize our relationship and make more time for him. I explained that my dedication to work was temporary and necessary for the success of the project, and I promised to make it up to him once everything settled down. As I eased into the project, I realized that Dave and I have gotten informal with each other. We would often crack jokes to release the stress that we were under. This had also extended to the calls and messages that we would share with each other. We had a lot of internal jokes that only we understood, and only we would crack up at those references. People started spreading rumors that Dave and I had become quite close lately, especially the women. I could see all the jealousy in their eyes whenever they saw me and Dave talking to each other in a cordial way. It did not take time for the rumors to spread like wildfire and reach William's ears. I reached home one day and saw William pacing up and down waiting for me. I didn't even put my stuff away and William started shooting his questions. He asked me if there was something going on between Dave and I. I told him it was all the jealous gossip that has been going on and that there was no truth to any of the rumors. William did not look convinced and said that there could be no smoke without fire, and if everyone could see it, then there could be some truth in it. He started his rampage because he always knew that Dave was trouble. I should have kept my distance from him and how he manipulates people into situations that are favorable to him. I was already tired from work and could not maintain my calm and patience to discuss something that did not even exist. I told William that it was his choice if he wanted to trust his wife, or he could just trust the people that were trying to spread all these false rumors about his wife. I stormed to our bedroom as I did not feel like wasting all of my time on something that was not even important. I was pissed at William for not trusting me over his ex-colleagues. This led to a lot of back and forth between William and I in the coming days. William kept questioning me who I was talking to, who I was texting, and who I was meeting. It didn't feel like it came from a positive and protective space, but more from a detective trying to get answers from a criminal. I told him that it would be better to maintain our distance if this is how he was going to keep behaving. So, as the sulker that he was, William stopped talking to me. He said that if I had respected our relationship, I would try and maintain my distance with Dave. I found it quite ridiculous that William did not understand a very simple fact that Dave was my boss, and there was no way I could do my work without having even minimal interaction with him. The next day, I went to work in a foul mood. I was pissed at William for not trusting me and doubting that I would do something that could hamper our relationship. Dave noticed this and asked me if I was okay, so I gave him a fake smile and resumed my work. After everyone left, Dave and I stayed back to work on a report. He then brought coffee and asked me that he was ready to listen if I had something that I wanted to share. Due to the recent developments in our bond, I started sharing what happened between me and William last night. Dave listened to me patiently and told me that it will all get better once things settle. I felt grateful to Dave for listening to me, and out of nowhere I hugged him. This was something I could have avoided. Once we separated, there was an unexplainable physical tension which led to us kissing each other. I quickly realized this and pushed him away. It was a weak moment for both of us, and we both rushed out feeling embarrassed with what just happened. The incident created an awkward atmosphere between Dave and me, and we both agreed to give each other some space to process our emotions. We knew that addressing the situation would be necessary in order to maintain our friendship and avoid any further complications. Things remained awkward for a few days between Dave and me. William not talking to me was not helping me either. I felt like there was no one I could talk to regarding what I felt like, which was mostly shitty. All this was eating me up from the inside. I decided to first mend my relationship with William, which was the utmost priority right now. This would help me clear my mind, and if I had a happy marriage, then I could deal with other things. Now, it was almost the middle of December, and we were at the end of completing our project. Things were getting a little easier at work, so I tried to make the first move to fix my relationship with William. I cooked dinner and decorated the table just the way William liked, so that we could reconcile and put our differences away. I knew from the start that William was not a fan of Dave, and that was the reason it was difficult for him to look at things in a practical manner. And to add to it, there were people who were spreading all kinds of rumors about me and Dave. I made William sit with me and told him that he was the only one I ever truly loved. Dave was nothing but my boss, and I had to be in touch with him, as I need to work with him at least till the end of this project. I told him that I would opt for a different team once the project was over, so that he could be at ease. This cleared up the doubts William had regarding my affair with Dave. It was good to have a hearty conversation with William and resolve our issues. I told him that I wanted our bond to be much stronger going into the next year. I felt happy to have fixed my equation with William. We discussed our future plans and agreed to maintain open communication to ensure a smooth transition once the project concludes. I expressed my gratitude for his understanding and reassured him that our personal relationship should remain intact and not be affected, even after I switched teams. It was time for the annual New Year party hosted by our company. Dave suggested inviting William so that he could see for himself and any doubts he had would be answered. It was a great idea. I told William that my boss had specially asked me to make sure that I come with my husband, as he was really keen on meeting the man I keep talking about all the time. I wanted William to clear all his doubts about me having an affair with anyone at work. I wanted William and me to have fun like old times. He also had his old colleagues and friends from work joining the party, so it was a great opportunity for us to reconnect and reminisce about the good old days. I was excited to introduce William to my boss and colleagues, as I knew they would see how happy we were together and put any rumors or doubts to rest. It was important for me to reassure William of our strong bond and enjoy the evening without any unnecessary worries. I made sure to communicate with William beforehand and assure him that there was no truth to the rumors about me having an affair with anyone at work. I wanted him to feel secure in our relationship and enjoy the evening without any unnecessary worries. Additionally, I knew that introducing William to my boss and colleagues would further strengthen our bond and showcase our happiness together. As the night progressed, drinks started coming in, and I was actually touching alcohol after a long time. The taste of alcohol felt heavenly. I was sure that I could control my drinks and not get into the addiction phase. I was sitting between Dave and William. William kept reminding me about the number of drinks I had gulped down. It was such a buzzkill. It was New Year's, and I wanted to enjoy myself without the nagging in the background. I know he was trying to save me from getting back to my addiction, but at that moment I was so wasted that I had no sense of right or wrong. I just knew that William was kind of killing the mood of the party, so I turned towards Dave and started talking to him. We were both hell drunk and lost all moral senses. I got the flashes from that night when I kissed Dave by accident. We put it behind us and tried to move forward. I don't recollect things after that. It was all blank after we started ordering more shots and started downing them. I got up the next day and saw that most of the stuff was missing. For a while it was hard to register that it was actually our house. Almost everything was missing, and for a second, I thought that we had been robbed during our sleep. I had a pounding hangover and tried to look for William. I walked through the house and noticed that not only William but also everything except the bed has been missing. I tried calling William but the phone was switched off. I quickly went and splashed some water on my face and tried to sober up. I saw that there was a note from William that said, "Congratulations for a new year with new beginnings and new people in life." I was left shook. I could not process if this was a prank or was it really happening. My mind raced with confusion and disbelief as I read the note over and over. Thoughts of abandonment flooded my mind, making it hard to distinguish reality from fiction. I desperately searched for any clues or explanations, hoping to find some semblance of understanding in this bewildering situation. My heart sank as I realized that William's note meant he had left me without any warning or explanation. Questions swirled in my mind, wondering why he would choose to start the new year by walking away from our relationship. The weight of uncertainty and sadness settled upon me, leaving me with a deep longing for closure and answers. I tried to sit and recollect what would have caused William to flip in such a way. I remembered that we started drinking shots. Dave and I had a competition on who could outdrink the other. I remember till the 5th shot and then it was all blank. I contemplated if I should call Dave and ask him about last night. Would he remember what happened that led to my life changing overnight? Maybe I was just overreacting and this was all a prank from William to step into the new year in style. I decided not to panic and wait till the evening to see how things unfold and then try to take some steps. As the day went on, flashes of blurry memories started to resurface, but they were too fragmented to make sense of. I couldn't shake off the feeling that something significant had occurred, and I couldn't help but wonder if it had something to do with William. However, I knew that jumping to conclusions without concrete evidence would only add unnecessary stress. I resolved to remain calm and patient until the evening when I could gather more information and formulate a plan moving forward. As I anxiously waited for the evening to arrive, I decided to distract myself by engaging in activities that would help clear my mind. I went for a long walk in the park, hoping that the fresh air and peaceful surroundings would provide some clarity. Despite my efforts, the fragments of memories continued to haunt me, leaving me with a sense of unease. Nonetheless, I reminded myself that rushing into action without a clear understanding of the situation would be counterproductive. So, I focused on staying composed. In the evening, I called Dave asking him if we could meet for a quick chat. I sent him the location of a cafe nearby and asked him to meet me in about 2 hours. I reached the cafe and ordered myself a coffee to sober up a little more, and also in the hope that I would remember something important that could help me track where William was. Dave came in and tried to hug me, which was definitely weird. I gave him an awkward smile and sat from across him. He told me that he loved what happened at the party yesterday and how it was his best formal party ever. It was a wild and crazy night. He also asked me if things were okay between William and I, as William did not look too pleased by the end of the night. That was it. This was the answer I was looking for. I asked him to tell me exactly what happened, as I had no recollection of it. Dave hesitated for a moment, and then began recounting the events of the previous night in vivid detail. According to him, we were at our shots competition and William was trying to stop me from drinking more. I kept pushing him away and told him that it was a night to enjoy and celebrate. I vaguely remembered this, me screaming that it was supposed to be a night of celebration and new beginnings, as we bid farewell to the old year and welcomed the promises of the new. But little did I know that this New Year's Eve would turn into a night of chaos and heartbreak. As the clock struck midnight and fireworks lit up the sky, my boss and I raised our glasses in a toast. Little did I realize that this innocent act of celebration would lead to a series of events that would turn my world upside down. William had stormed out after an argument with me, and Dave had stayed behind to console me. As he spoke, I desperately tried to piece together the fragments of my memory, hoping to uncover the truth about what had transpired. Dave and I started talking, and I started pouring out my frustration. Dave hugged me to make me feel better, but since we both were drunk, we were out of our senses and started making out. When William came back after cooling himself, he saw the state we were in. He was obviously enraged and pulled me away from Dave. He then forcefully walked me out of the club and waited to get a taxi. Dave said that this is all he saw and he figured probably we went home. I sat there in silence for some time, trying to piece all this together and see if I could remember anything after listening to all of this. Dave asked me if everything was okay between William and I. I lied to him that things were not that bad, and William asked me to figure out what happened, and that was the reason I asked him to meet me to clear my head. Dave looked at me skeptically, sensing that I was holding something back. He encouraged me to open up and assured me that he was there to support me no matter what. Reluctantly, I decided to confide in him about the confusing and troubling situation with William, hoping that sharing my thoughts would bring some clarity to the chaos in my mind. As I poured out my feelings to Dave, he listened attentively, offering words of comfort and understanding. He reassured me that it was normal to feel overwhelmed and that seeking guidance was a sign of strength. Grateful for his support, I began to feel a glimmer of hope that together with Dave's help, I could navigate through the complexities of my relationship with William. As I reflect back on that fateful night, I can't help but think about how the lines between my personal and professional life became so muddled. It all started with a few innocent drinks at a work-related New Year's Eve party, but it quickly spiraled out of control. My boss and I found ourselves in a state of inebriation, and in that moment, all sense of professional decorum seemed to fade away. So here I am, left with an empty house with just a mattress and nothing else. It has been 2 days with no sign of William or his whereabouts. I am writing this in hopes of getting any advice from anyone who was or is in a similar situation. Could anyone please let me know what I should do in the current situation I am in? Should I file a missing complaint report? Had William voluntarily left to make distance and clear his mind? Or is there something more concerning going on? I'm feeling overwhelmed and uncertain about how to proceed. Any guidance or support would be greatly appreciated. Update 1. Thank you guys for all your comments and advice. From your advice, it was clear that William wanted to make himself distant from me to solve this on his own, so I decided to respect his wishes and give him the space he needed. It had been 3 months since William ghosted me and I had no clue where he was. I tried calling his work, but they said that he was working remotely and had no idea where he was. Feeling frustrated and desperate for answers, I decided to reach out to our mutual friends in hopes of finding any leads on William's whereabouts. However, they too were clueless and hadn't heard from him in months. The mystery surrounding his sudden disappearance only deepened, leaving me with a lingering sense of unease and unanswered questions. I wrote multiple emails to William explaining my side of the story and letting him know that he had got it all wrong. I could only hope that William would read my emails and get back to me, as he had blocked me everywhere else where I could reach him. Also, the mortgage for the house was something I couldn't handle on my own. The bills, the few things that I had to buy since William took away everything, had increased my expenses. As I struggled to manage the mounting financial burden, I contemplated seeking professional help or exploring alternative options to alleviate the strain. Additionally, the emotional toll of William's absence weighed heavily on me. as I grappled with feelings of abandonment and uncertainty about our future together. I found myself a good friend in Dave. He partly felt responsible for my life turning out this way. I assured him that it was all alcohol, and that there was no one else apart from me to blame for the situation I was in. Dave listened attentively as I poured out my regrets and mistakes, offering words of comfort and understanding. Despite his reassurances, I couldn't help but wonder if there was any truth to his sense of responsibility. However, Dave's unwavering support reminded me that true friendship means standing by each other through thick and thin, regardless of who is to blame. As we continued to talk, Dave shared his own struggles and mistakes, emphasizing that we all make choices that lead us down different paths. His empathy helped me realize that while he may have influenced some of my decisions, ultimately it was my own actions that determined the outcome. Together, we vowed to support each other in making better choices and creating a brighter future. I was thanking Davey by hugging him for being there for me, and that's when I heard William walk in saying that he knew that I was faking about not having an affair with Dave. He now could see with his own eyes what I was up to in his absence. He said that he came back after reading all the emails that I had sent him, thinking he might have been mistaken about this entire affair thing. Both Dave and I tried to stop William to make him listen and understand what was going on, but he became manic and was in no mood to listen to us. He told us that he had been keeping an eye on us and had seen Dave frequenting the house quite often. He would not be surprised if Dave had a spare key to the house. That was enough to rile me up as well. I told him that I had had enough of him trying to accuse me of something I hadn't done. He could leave this house if I had to keep proving my innocence. He laughed at my behavior and said that I had become a really decent actor, and then left. I fell to the floor with tears rolling down my eyes. I didn't even know that William would turn out to be such a shallow person. Update 2. It had been 6 months since my last argument with William. I thought that after my venting out, William would sit and think about it and come back to me. I was so wrong about him. He had only turned nasty after that. He kept sending me letters stating that he had eyes on me and he knew everything going on between Dave and me. I knew the best thing to do was ignore him, as that would be the most satisfying response to him trying to rile me up. The frequency of his letters reduced with time, and I was happy to finally think that he got the point. I returned from work late in the evening and pulled out the mail. I placed it on the table to check it out for later. As I was going through the bills, there was a mysterious letter and I could immediately recognize William's handwriting on it. I rushed to open it to see what it could be. It read, "To my loving wife. I am not going to lie, it made my heart race." With all smiles and enthusiasm, I tore open the letter to discover divorce papers in it. My hands trembled as I read the words, my mind struggling to comprehend what I was seeing. The shock of the situation left me speechless, my heart sinking with each passing second. I felt a mix of emotions, anger, confusion, and sadness, as I tried to process the sudden turn of events. Questions flooded my mind, wondering what had gone wrong in our marriage and why William had chosen this path. The weight of reality settled heavily upon me, and I knew that our lives were about to change drastically. I tried to look for an address on the letter so that I get an idea of where William had disappeared. Maybe if we could just sit and talk, things would turn out differently. All I wanted was to try and save our marriage even after all the nonsense William had taken me through. I never meant for things to unfold this way, but the consequences of New Year's Eve have made me painfully aware of the impact it had on my personal life. My life took a complete 360 with just a small incident of being drunk and kissing my boss. I never knew that William would be a passive-aggressive sulker who would just abandon me without a word or asking for an explanation. Now, I find myself grappling with the aftermath of that fateful night, desperately trying to salvage my marriage and understand why William reacted in such a drastic manner. It's disheartening to realize how one seemingly innocent mistake can unravel the foundation of trust we had built over years. It's a sobering reminder that we must remain vigilant in protecting the sanctity of our relationships and the boundaries between work and home. It's a hard truth to face, but the events of that night made me realize that I need to set clear boundaries between my professional and personal life. The mixing of alcohol, work, and personal relationships led to a devastating outcome that I never anticipated. I have learned the hard way that the blurring of these boundaries can have serious consequences for my well-being and my relationships. I am determined to make changes and prioritize the well-being of myself. This experience has been a wake-up call, reminding me to create a healthier balance between my professional and personal life. I decided that I would not let William or any other man put me down ever in life. I did make a few mistakes, but that did not mean that I was a bad person or that I cheated on my husband. I did kiss my boss when I was vulnerable, but if William would have just spoken to me about it, tried to understand what I was going through, maybe all this would not have happened. I am not here to blame anyone for how my life turned out. This is just me venting out and setting this post as a reminder that you never know what and how a person can turn their back on you. To all the women out there, if the man you are with does not give 2 cents about what you are feeling, then I would advise you to put on your sneakers and run. The relationship is not worth it. He would never try to get into your shoes and understand your perspective of why you did what you did. I am not here, putting down all the men out there. It is just one of the biggest red flags that you need to look out for, in my opinion. I am still hopeful and positive to lead a happy and wonderful life without being dependent on anyone else for my own happiness. This is the lesson I am going to take away from this roller coaster of a year.